0, 1. Let's get started.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host Andreas. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Today's video is going to be a preview to the Easter Thursday blockbuster between Brisbane and Collingwood at the Gabba. Another blockbuster game that Collingwood's in. Yes, the AFL's bank. We're over here. Let's just get into it. Before we start today, this video is brought to you by New Homes Victoria, your local builder. Jump on Instagram, give them a like. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this video today. All right, so we've got some pretty good feels coming out of the Sydney game. Momentum's up. Everything's looking pretty decent. The thing that I'm sort of most wrapped about was the fact that, and I said this in my video, is the way that we were able to respond every single time Sydney challenged us last week. Every single time they said, "What are you going to do, Collingwood? We're coming at you," or whatever. We responded, and we responded fantastic. Now, that was a credit to the coaching staff 100%. It was one of the first games that I've seen where we were able to use the wings, use the width of the ground, but we were also able to get them back and use the corridor with Ned Long and Nick Dacos, just doing some 1-2s here and there. I thought that was fantastic. I think we're at the point now, looking into this game against Brisbane, where we can comfortably say that Ned Long is going to replace Tom Mitchell, and I think he's replaced Tom Mitchell from this moment onwards now. If Tom Mitchell gets himself 110%, fully fit, ready to go, able to perform, not just play, able to perform, I do see Tom Mitchell eventually probably creeping his way back into the side, because you're going to have suspensions, injuries, matchup dilemmas and stuff like that. Yep, no worries. But on paper, as it stands right now, Ned Long is in that side. Ned Long is like the bodyguard to Nick Dacos, and I heard someone say it on Fox Footy, and I loved the term. He is Nick Dacos's running mate. He is Nick Dacos's bodyguard. I feel Harry Perryman can be that type of player as well, but we're utilizing him right now, just doing those little bits and pieces that we need, whether it's intercept marking or getting the ball out of the pack and then feeding it off, and also being that quarterback player, the one receiving the ball and then hand passing it off to a running Josh Dacos or to a Ned Long or someone like that, which has been great. So there's all these different facets of the game that I loved against Sydney, and moving that into Brisbane, there is one thing that we're missing. There is one thing that we're missing against for this Brisbane game, and it's Dan Houston. Now, I know, it didn't look like we missed him much against Sydney. I thought we did. There were times when Sydney challenged us. I felt as if just off the half back line, we were working overtime, and eventually we got the run. Eventually we broke free. But I feel like if Houston was there, was there just that little bit of extra class that we needed just to get the ball, steady it up, or run it out, whichever way we want to go, and just change direction, whatever, and pinpoint that pass and go. We're going to need that against Brisbane. So players like Isaac Quainer and players like Josh Dacos need to now raise it to the next level. Brisbane's game against the Western Bulldogs, so we'll just move on to that really quickly. Brisbane's game against the Western Bulldogs. I mean, I thought the Dogs were going to win. I thought the Dogs had them covered at one stage. I felt like they were more in control, and then Brisbane just put on the afterburners and completely, just dominated every single aspect of that last quarter. They just looked more threatening going up forward, and for a game where it was, they were down and then all of a sudden they win by like 21 points or whatever it was, I can't remember. I think it just shows the class that they've got. We are very lucky and fortunate to have beaten that side in the grand final two seasons ago, or a season and a half ago. And it shows that they won it after us, after we beat them. So obviously, this is a real good team that we're playing. We don't have the greatest history in the Easter Thursdays. It's probably 50-50. It's not like we completely destroy them in Easter Thursday games. But when we have beaten them quite well. Last year when we beat them at the Gabba, it was more, we were 0-3. We had to do something, and we responded really good. I think lately we are Brisbane's bogey team. like we've had a bogey team for God knows how long. Hawthorn's been our bogey team for God knows how. I reckon since the late 80s, I could count on two hands how many times we've beaten Hawthorn. And I think that we are that now of Brisbane. And, obviously they beat us in 23 towards the end of the season at Marvel Stadium. Joe Danaher had a field day that day. And then, go into the finals. We beat them in the grand final. We beat them at Easter Thursday. And then we were the last team to actually beat them at the MCG, or the last team to beat them in general. So, I think there's that mental thing that we've got over them as well, which will be nice. But with that being said, Hugh McCluggage, 32 disposals. Will Ashcroft, 31. The other Ashcroft decided just to come in. How much did he have? He had 22 and kicked a 1-goal-1, right? So these players have got explosive speed. These players have got this. They're just a really good. They're just a good side all around the park. I mean, Zach Bailey is. Geez, I'd love him at the Pies. He's just the complete mid-sized running forward midfielder type of option that can just do it all. Right now, they've proven it on the big stage. I have full faith that we can beat them this week. I have full faith that Collingwood can go in there and shut them up and do the job. But I'm also seeing it from the other point of view where they might turn around and say, we're going to run you off your legs here. I think the ground itself, I mean, we tend to play okay at the Gabba, but it's more narrower as opposed to the Adelaide Oval, which I thought was a bit wider. So, we can use the wings as much as possible, but this is going to be a very fast game. The ball's going to skid. It's going to be, the disposals are going to be hot and fiery. You're going to have, hand pass. The chain links of hand passes from defense to forward are going to be like that. If you want to, my personal thoughts on the results of this game in particular, my heart is saying Collingwood by 15 points. My guts and my head are saying Brisbane by 15 points. I'm right in the middle. I'm a realist with this thing. I said in my video, a couple of videos ago, our next 4-week block, Sydney, Brisbane, Essendon, and Geelong, we should be able to win all 4 of them, or we should be able to, I think, 3-1 is a good mark. Like 2-2, no, not really. If it was going to be 3-1, this is the 3-1. This is the one. This is the one where I'm a little bit hesitant. If we were playing them at the MCG this week, and I know the non-Collingwood supporters were like, oh, you play every game at the G. No, we play our games at the G. We play some games at Marvel because we're contracted to, but we draw the bigger crowd, so you can get that one up here. But I just think if it was at the G this game, then it would be a complete different feel. We do travel good though. We are a bonding team. We travel well away. I'm going to say the Pies by 15 points, but it's just one of those games where I'm a bit, I don't know. Regardless though, the way that we've been playing and that game against Sydney gives us so much confidence moving into this game. My most important player, and I'm not going to do the cliche Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos, still side bottom, or, Scott Pendlebury or whatever. The most important players of this game is going to come down to players like Jack Crisp, players like, if he does play a Hoskin Elliott, if he does play someone like Harry Perryman. There was a talk about Perryman's ankle. He may have sustained an injury. He it was 50-50, but the club hasn't come out and said anything yet. These type of players are the ones that are going to win us this game, that are just going to have to stand up. And we're going to need an effort across the whole board. The one player I'm going to put into focus this week is Billy Frampton. Billy Frampton's game against Sydney was unbelievable. He, from the start to the finish, did his job. We saw the week before against Carlton, he started off a bit shaky in the first half. He started off a little bit like, dropping some easy marks. His disposal was getting intercepted by the Carlton half forwards and midfielders. And then as we got on top, he then, turned it up and, was doing everything. He continued from that second half against Carlton and gave it to us this whole game against Sydney. And it was amazing. His intercept defensive spoils, his marking, like he took a mark on the half-back flank where, the week before in the first or second quarter, he probably would have dropped it or just punched it over the boundary line to cause a throw-in. But he was just attack at the footy, and that was exactly what we wanted to see. If he can do that in the back line this week, then that's going to go a long way to us to win this game. Obviously, by the time I'm filming this now, the teams haven't been announced or anything like that. It's going to be obviously a quick week with team selection coming and ins and outs and training and stuff like that. So everything's going to happen pretty quick as we are playing on Thursday night. As I said, my prediction is Collingwood by 15 points. My heart's saying 15 points. My head on my gut are saying Brisbane by 15 points. So there's obviously a line there. There was one other point I wanted to make. Yes. The way that we were coached during this game was a tactical masterpiece. It felt like Craig McRae had all the pieces in place. So every time Dean Cox wanted to make a move on us, we were able to respond or block that. We have to have the same coaching mentality moving into this Brisbane game, because they're going to throw everything at us. They're going to throw everything at us from the start. They are a quick, bursting team. They have players that will get the ball and just burst. Zorko, Neil, both Ashcrofts, Zach Bailey, McCluggage, Archie. These guys are just like champion footballers, and they know what they're doing. So we have to respect this opposition that we're coming up against, not take it lightly, not think, oh yeah, no, we're right, we've got enough legs and then we've got Nick Dacos, we can get it done by that. No, because they're going to be giving the same amount of respect to us, because we've got that little mental baggage over their head, which we can actually coach into that and play that against them. My tip is the Pies by 15 points. I want you guys to tell me what you think. Are you nervous about this game? Is this the game that we drop and then we continue to go on a run, or do we just win this game and then we just keep going and then we'll assess the season at the mid-season break? Who knows? Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Make sure you call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.